In the mid-50s, Hammer Film Productions reinvented themselves as the new poster boys for the genre.
This is Frankenstein, who revolted against nature, who experimented with the devil and was forever cursed.
Their groundbreaking updates on cinema's most iconic monsters breathed new life into the increasingly stale Gothic formula. Shot in glorious Technicolor, Hammer was unafraid to give the people what they wanted: blood, villains, and lots of cleavage. Their impressive early run saw them tackle the likes of Frankenstein, Dracula, the Mummy, and Jekyll and Hyde. Quite naturally then, the studio turned their bloodshot eyes to one of Universal's pivotal horror mascots, the werewolf. Though the result was initially viewed as a critical and commercial misstep for Hammer, the curse of the werewolf serves up a relatively subdued, perhaps unexpected, emotional journey. Oliver Reed plays Leon, in the first starring role of his impressive career. Leon is the unfortunate soul who has been accursed to transform into a violent beast under the light of the full moon, speeding towards a tragic end unless the curse can be lifted. This may be an all too familiar werewolf plot, but the curse of the werewolf has a hefty ace up its sleeve. Oliver Reed does not make an appearance until just after the halfway mark. Before that point, Hammer's most trusted director, Terence Fisher, takes us on a trip through time and tragedy. We are first presented with the tale of a beggar who stumbles into an 18th century Spanish town on the day of the ruler's wedding. He forgets his station and begs the rich partygoers for some food and drink, but he is instantly humiliated, forced to dance and make a fool of himself. The Lord's bride takes pity on the beggar, but even she is powerless to prevent her new husband from locking the beggar in the dungeons forevermore. These scenes are essentially an extended prologue and do go on for some time. Naturally, you're believing this sympathetic bullied man will be the hero of our story. Think again, my pedigree chums. We are introduced to a little mute girl, the daughter of the dungeon master, who grows into a beautiful young woman, desired by all around her. Now, we follow her story. The Lord is decaying, but apparently that doesn't stop his boner. He tries to force himself on the woman, but she rejects his advances. Fair enough, he looks like a dried shit. As punishment, she unwillingly becomes the beggar's roommate. Out of the raping pan, into the rape fire. The beggar's long jail stint has turned him mad, and he molests the poor woman so hard he goes and dies. We soon learn that this has resulted in a pregnancy. She exacts her revenge, escapes, and is taken in by a nice family. Well, we're spending a lot of time with this woman. She must be the hero, right? Think again, my chummy pedigrees. She dies in childbirth. Great. This dude is the narrator, so maybe he's the new protagonist now. But his wife is getting a lot more screen time? Oh, no time to think about that. It's time for time jump number 2. The baby becomes a child with a creepy voice, like he's been raised in the village of the damned.
He pulled the trigger, and the little squirrel squeaked and dropped. I kissed it, and I tasted something warm. Must have been the blood, but it tasted sweet. I want to keep on tasting it.
Well, he is cursed, to be fair. Now our protagonist is this boy? No, not yet. Let's spend some time with this hunter dude as he tracks down a goat killer. Surprise, surprise, it's the child who is the killer, but he gets away with it until time jump number 3. Now it is the story of the cursed man whose only chance of beating this horrible affliction is a healthy dose of true love. I'm taking the mickey a little, because on first watch, it does feel unfocused, dare I say. But it opens up a new take on the standard werewolf plot, and you slowly realise what the filmmakers were going for. The multiple strands of this ensemble piece regularly referred to the duality of man. The good and the bad. Human and beast. Terrible cruelty brings Leon into the world, but it is love and a proper upbringing that has raised a gentleman. Connections and comparisons between mankind and animals are frequently made. The beggar is treated as a dog, and eventually becomes a kind of twisted pet, a true savage. The Lord's monstrous personality becomes physical over time, his evil beastly nature taking hold. And of course, there's a bloody werewolf. Leon shares the brooding, conflicted, and sometimes suicidal tendencies of your usual werewolf protagonists, but Oliver Reed's quiet yet intense performance makes it an enjoyable, sweaty four-headed watch. The extended backstory of this baby who was born with the curse does give the tried and tested formula a different angle, and makes Leon all the more sympathetic. Likewise, his curse is not a personal secret, it's a known fact around certain parts of the community. Again, this provides a fresh spin that benefits from the less star-focused ensemble structure of the movie. The amount of actual werewolf content is very slim. The film is far less concerned with scares and kills, as it is with Leon's internal struggles. His wolf form is not properly depicted until the final 10 minutes of the film, but it does not disappoint. Sometimes werewolf designs go too far, sometimes not far enough. In this instance, it is spot on, certainly in regards to the thematic battle Leon is undertaking. It is the perfect blend of human and animal, with Reed still able to express all the heightened emotions required. But this is still a hammer horror, and a werewolf film. In that sense, the kills, or lack thereof, do leave me wanting just a little bit more. The relatively tame nature of this film is largely down to censorship. A wave of controversial films triggered British censors, including the previous episode's film, Peeping Tom. The BBFC had to take a stand, and what better target to make an example of than the proud champions of adult horror? Many cuts later, the neutered film was released to little fanfare. No, the reviews were not as glowing as their prior pictures, and box office takings were comparatively minimal. Consequently, the Curse of the Werewolf remained Hammer's only werewolf vehicle. That's a pity, as the pairing of this monster and his studio should have been a franchise made in bloody heaven. Alas, let's all shed a hairy tear for what could have been. Oh, and pay attention, fellow James Bond fans. Not only do we get Anthony Dawson as the delightfully evil villain, we also get a small uncredited role from Q himself, Desmond Llewellyn.
Go away, man, before he sees you. Away! No one, my lord. Just a beggar.
All we're missing now is a very heady Sean Connery snarling about his cursed situation. Yes.